All right. So now we are moving towards the section 68 and power of the company to purchase its own securities, own shares. So what are the conditions? So I told you which kinds of companies required this kinds of provisions. So which has the lot of surplus in the balance sheet, and they want the centralization of powers. They do not want the diluted power. So for them, I think section 68 is just like a rule. So, okay, what are the rules? Condition number one is company needs to be solvent. Solvent. While you read this provision, the first things what needs to be done is every director needs to sign a declaration that is known as the declaration of solvency. Now, what do you mean by declaration of solvency here? You tell me taxation, dividend, and buyback. In company, it requires huge amount of cash outflow. And do you know what? This cash outflow is such cash outflow which can't be reversed later on. You tell me once you paid the tax, can you ask it back? So look, it is very controversial statement, but you have profit today. 100 crore rupees profit, so you will pay 30% tax to the government, 30 crores. But what if in the next year you have 100 crore rupees loss? Can you demand tax from the government back? No. Reversal is not possible. So, huge cash outflow is there which can heavily impact on the liquidity of the company, and therefore every director needs to declare this, needs to give this certificate called declaration of solvency, that even after going for buyback, even after paying the huge amount of cash to the outsider shareholders, we will be in the position to pay the debt of creditors. Creditors won't be affected by that. The declaration each and every director needs to sign. After then, guys, how to do this? Like, what is the limit? Let's understand what is the limit over here. Let's discuss little bit about the limit. So, limit has the two variants, 10% and 25%. If directors alone wants to go, students, then 10% limit. That means up to 10% the buyback is possible just by passing board resolution. Board resolution. Board meeting, decision, board resolution. But what if the company wants to go for the buyback more than 10% but up to 25%? Then you have to go with a special resolution. Up to 10%, no need to go to ask, the consent of the shareholders, but more than 10%, you have to go. And maximum what is allowed is the 25%. Beyond which, like what if any company wants to go beyond 25%? I'm telling you it is not possible. It is not possible. So maximum allowed is how much? 25%. You are not allowed to go beyond that. Not only to that, there is a question sometimes in exam they do ask like this, that company has suppose 100 crore rupees equity share capital, another 100 crore rupees is the preference share capital. What is the maximum amount of the equity shares buyback? So once attempt you can maximum go for 25% of the equity share capital, not beyond that. So 100 crore rupees is the equity share capital, 25% comes to 25 crores. So in one attempt you are not allowed to go beyond 25%. Are these all the points are clear? All the points are clear? One more condition they have provided here, it is about the debt equity ratio. Debt equity ratio. You tell me one thing. Suppose I have 600 crore rupees debt, that stands for the creditors, and 300 crore rupees equity shares, that is nothing but what, capital. So based on this figure, tell me what is the debt equity ratio. So it is nothing but 2:1. Can I say the debt is double then? But try to understand, if I go for buyback, 25% is allowed in a year. So 300 crores multiplied by 25 divided by 100, it is coming to how much? 75 crores. Now, if I withdraw 75 crores from my own capital, what will be my new balance of the capital? Can I say new balance of the capital will be 300 minus 75, that is coming to 225, right? But my debt remaining as it is. Now, what is the new ratio? New ratio, if you ask me, I would say it is going 600 divided by 225. I would say 2.66 is to 1. That is the new debt equity ratio. So can I say this ratio indicates that your debt is 2.6 higher than your own funds, your own capital. So tell me guys, more debt is good for the company or less good debt is good for the company? Let me tell you students, your own money is less, but borrowed money is too huge. It is the huge risk indicator for the survival of company, and basically you should avoid this kinds of companies having the lots of debt over what? Equity. What is the standard ratio of the debt equity ratio? That is the 2 is to 1. Maximum debt in your balance sheet should be most, like max to max, is twice than what your capital is. And that's what also law wants to say, that you have to take care that while you start withdrawing the capital through buyback, your debt equity ratio should not go beyond 2 is to 1. Are you getting my point? Should not go beyond 2 is to 1. That also you need to maintain. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं जाना है आपको. Am I clear to all of you? So these all are the restrictions. Now some more restrictions I want to tell you. I am giving cash to the shareholders. Shareholders will surrender the share certificates. What I will do with those share certificates? Yesterday I tried to explain. Law says that whatever share certificates are taken back just within 7 days. Just within what? Just within, I would say, 7 days, you need to destroy them. Just within 7 days, destroy the share certificates. Not only to that, the shares what are bought back are prohibited to be reissued for the maximum 6 months. Alright, so the same class can't be issued for the next 6 months. Okay, sometimes in exam there is one more question. And the question is like, what is the maximum validity of the buyback? Maximum validity. So all of you know that buyback begins with what? Can I say it begins with either passing board resolution maximum 10% or by passing special resolution 11 to 25%. So your buyback triggers when you go with the board resolution or the special resolution, but what is the maximum? You see, once you have passed it, can I say that the validity is for the 5 years, 10 years? Is it like that? So up to what extent these resolutions are valid? That means after how much time you need to repeat the process if you want to go for the second time buyback. So law says that the validity of such resolutions of the buyback are just the 12 months. Just the 12 months. And after 12 months, guys, this scheme expires. This scheme expires. So answer one question, guys. Suppose there's a company goes forward buyback. And the question goes like this: company is there. Company has passed the, I would say, board resolution as on 1st January 2021. Miss Bhavna, she was little bit confused whether she should go for the buyback or not. But she decides and she applied it to the company to go for the buyback, but the date is the 2nd February 2022. And company accepted this proposal. That means the company took the share certificates back and paid the money according to what they have decided. My point is it valid as per the Companies Act? Reason kya? Here the board resolution been passed as on 1st January 2021. It will get expired by the next 1st January 2022. But here Bhavna is applied in the 2nd February 2022. That is nothing but the after expiry. So it is against the law. It is violation. So this is not valid. But this is not the question. The question is नहीं कहते. Question तो अब आई है. What would be your answer if on 15th January 2022 company pass new board resolution? Now this Bhavna's proposal to get back is valid or not valid? अब समझो बेटा 15th January 2022, that means the next year, when old scheme expired, on 15th January 2022, board passed the new resolution to go for the buyback. They have still surplus. So guys, according to the logic, what happens is as soon as the new board resolution is passed, as on 15th January 2022, the scheme got renewed. And if the scheme got renewed, 2nd February, if you are applying, it is valid or not valid? It is valid or not valid? But the answer to this question is what? Not valid. काश सीए इंटर समझना इतना आसान होता. आप कहेंगे सर गलत क्या? बेटा बहुत बड़ी गलत चीज आ रही है. Law says that as soon as the buyback gets over, it is on you. 12 months is the maximum validity. The company can just conclude this even before 12 months. If it wants, it can conclude it after 3 months, 6 months. It is on the company. And law says once the buyback scheme is expired or let's get over, there must have to have the minimum gap of 1 year. So the next buyback you cannot start exactly on expiry of the old one. No, you have to take the vacation of 1 year. So sometimes in MCQ they can ask a question that what should be the gap between the two buyback. So क्या होगा answer? The gap between the two buyback, that means the expiry of the old one and beginning of the new one, it should be the 12 months. Am I clear to all of you? And that's the reason guys, this resolution itself is unlawful, against the law. तो जब आप resolution ही pass नहीं कर सकते तो फिर ये valid कैसे होगा? Am I clear? So buyback में छोटे छोटे points आ सकते हैं. Okay. Read it. Yeah, that's what the same thing is. Same thing. As soon as the old got over, for the next 1 year you can't go ahead. That is called the vacation. That is called the vacation. Cooling period it's called in other sense, I would say. Okay. Now, one more point is coming here. It is the sources of the buyback. The sources of buyback. So while you want to go for the buyback, what are the sources available? What you can utilize? So guys, buyback can be utilized for either of these three sources. पहला क्या होगा? Your profit, earned profit, that is the free reserve. Okay, so what are the sources of buyback? So the first source what you can utilize, it is the profit, current like accumulated profits. Second is the fresh proceed. Issue the new shares, take the money, and whatever new money has come from that, you buy back the old shares. Fine. Fresh proceed. And third one is the security premium account. 133 applies or it doesn't apply. In both the cases, buyback is allowed. Buyback is allowed. However, whenever 133 applies, one more condition is there. Applies and you must have to comply. Then SPA can be utilized. So I don't want to discuss it again. I think back to back in last two sessions we have done that. Am I clear? So these are the three different sources. Now, just yesterday I explained, if you are paying this money back out of the profit, out of what? Will it affect the capital base or not? Because yesterday I tried to explain that when you are utilizing the profit, let's say entire your free reserve got exhausted, but still if the free reserve is appearing in the balance sheet, that needs to get transferred to another account. What is that another account? That is CRR, capital. Ultimately, you tell me one thing, when you go for the buyback, isn't it one type of capital redemption only? You're giving the money of the people back. That's nothing but what? Capital redemption. So guys, once it is out of profit, you have to create nothing but what? CRR, and this is section 69 after 68. Okay, the last question what I want to tell, under certain circumstances, the company is prohibited to go for buyback. Under certain circumstances, company is what? Prohibited to go for buyback. You tell me one thing, here the creditors are begging for the money because you have not paid their money since last 6 months, and here you're going for the buyback. Isn't it contradicting? You have money, but you do not have money for the creditors, lawful creditors. So what the law has provided under section 70, if you look at, prohibition for the buyback in certain circumstances. Got it? So they have said that if you have, let's say, made the default in repayment of deposits or its interest or redemption of the debentures or the preference shares or the payment of dividend or the any long, I would say, term loan taken from the financial institution or the banking company. So this paragraph is trying to say what? It is just simply trying to say that if you defaulted the creditors, whether they are preference shareholders on redemption, debenture holders on redemption, deposit holders on maturity, or any term loan always comes under the long term in most of the cases. So if you have not paid the long term funds and you are going for the buyback, law will not allow you that. Not only to that, look at this wonderful provision. Look at the question I can ask you like this. Suppose there is a company which defaulted payment 50 crore rupees loan. Defaulted. I am telling you, company defaulted. Defaulted paying 50 crore rupees loan, but company wants to go for buyback. Allowed or not allowed? Assume this 50 crore is nothing but a term loan taken from some financial institution. Allowed or not allowed? It are not allowed. See this baat hai. So what company did is, as on 3rd March 2022, company paid the entire loan with interest. So nothing is pending. And as on 12th May 2022, company wants to go for the buyback. Can company go or not? There was a default, agreed. But default got rectified as on what? 3rd March 2022 by paying the entire money back. On 12th May, that means just almost around 2 months, 2.5 months after this rectification, company wants to go for the buyback. Allowed or not allowed? Gosh, CA intern आसान होता. Actually, the law paper plays with your minds, so please be very careful. So you see, law ने क्या कहा? If you come to hear the proviso clearly says that buyback is not prohibited if this default is made. If it is remedied means what? It is rectified, it is paid. And a period of 3 years has lapsed after such default ceased to subsist. That means once you have rectified your default, wait for the 3 years and then you can go. Immediately you cannot. Did you understand why the answer of this question is not valid? You have to wait. So think twice before you make the default. Just because of this tremendous controls, my dear students, people have the lot of trust over the company. And company, even if sometimes wants to make some mischievous things, because of these provisions, penalties, they cannot go. You have doubts, Paras? Okay. So guys, this is crystal clear that indirectly or directly, you cannot buy your own shares. You know that? This is nothing but if you have not complied 92, 123, 127 and 129, then again it is prohibited. Now what is 92? If you have not filed your annual return. 123, you declare the dividend but not paid in time. 127, you failed to pay the dividend and penalty imposed. 129, preparation of the financial statements as per schedule 3. 92, annual return. 123 and 127 both are dividend chapter. 129 financial statements. So if any of the provisions is violated, again the buyback is not allowed. Buyback is not allowed. So guys, with this I would like to announce that your buyback topic is coming to the end. उसमें कुछ ज़्यादा है नहीं, आप समझो बात को. Am I clear? Whatever important questions were there, I have tried to explain. But घर पे जाके please try to read in detail. So with this I want to announce your basic concepts are coming to the end. Am I clear? Basic concepts of the share capital. That chapter comes to the end. Transfer transmission, that is my next point. I am starting after this. Yesterday I told you to remind me about the differential voting rights. वो एक छोटा सा point रह गया है यहाँ पे. So can company go for differential voting rights? Obviously yes. So guys, let me tell you what are the important points to be remembered in this topic. Differential voting rights. Shares with differential voting rights. So company can definitely issue the equity shares with differential voting rights as per the rules what are provided in connection with the section 43 of the act. So students, when you come here, section 43, kinds of the share capital, it is written that with the differential rights in accordance with the rules as may be prescribed. So differential voting rights are coming under the rules of the section 43. Am I clear? Excuse me, just a second.